And there we are. Hello, everybody. Have you noticed that Joe Biden is apparently going scorched earth policy before he leaves office? Hopefully. Today is January the 7th, I believe. It's a Tuesday. Just a personal note, we've got, by the way, I'm trying to put together a little makeshift studio here in my house. I've got some things on order that are going to be arriving in about a week, and hopefully it won't be so drab, but I'll have like a regular studio where I can make videos when I'm not out in the field or on vacation, or like not that I ever go on vacation, or if I ever go camping or anything. Anyway, this coming Friday, we are supposed to have a big weather event here in Alabama. It's supposed to be snowy and a wintry mix of snow, actually significant, I'm hearing. Really cold temperatures, which we already have, and possible ice, so I may be housebound Friday. I don't know. I know some of y'all up north, New York, Michigan, Minnesota, and what have you, you're probably laughing at us, but down here in the South, it gets cold. It doesn't get below zero cold like it does up north, but we can get into the teens, and that's cold enough for me, believe me. Anyway, back to Biden. Biden just has, he goes out of office supposedly, God willing, on the 20th of January is the inauguration of Trump, right? So that's what, 2 weeks from yesterday being Monday. So Biden, I've been looking at all these various things that he's been doing for the last few days, the last week or so, or the last 4 years, if you will. And I've just concluded that he is apparently just going scorched earth on us, because look at the things he's done. He's been giving out these presidential medals of freedom. Have you heard about this? Can you believe what he's done? There's two different, I looked into this. There's two different medals that he was giving out to different people. One is the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which I believe is the highest civilian honor that you can gain for a citizen of the United States. And he gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom to several people, among them Hillary Clinton and George Soros. And when I first heard that, it about made my head spin around. Just when you think that he's done, he can't surprise you anymore, he pulls a stunt like this. He gave a Presidential Citizens Medal to several people, among them Liz Cheney of Utah. She's not really from Utah, by the way. She went there for political expediency, as did Dick. And of course, as we know, Liz got trounced by Harriet Hageman and sent packing, but she just won't leave. Folks, you can't get rid of these people to save your life. Hillary Clinton loses to Donald Trump in 2016. She will not go. These people won't go away. Obama won't go away. They just got to stay near the epicenter of what's happening. It's in their blood. It's in their veins. It's coursing through them. They've got to be where the action is in Washington. You just cannot get rid of them, to the degree that they get rewarded by this bumbling, babbling, incoherent boob that we have in the White House right now. Now, tell me one thing, please. I would assume in order for a civilian to be awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, they would have had to have some great accomplishment that benefits their nation. That's what I'm assuming. What has Hillary Clinton ever done to be of benefit to the United States? What has George Soros ever done that has benefited the welfare of the United States? What has Liz Cheney ever done, ever, that benefits the United States to the degree that she should be awarded with this honor, this medal by Joe Biden? This is just a bunch of political hacks just patting each other on the back. They have accomplished nothing, folks. Absolutely nothing. As a matter of fact, Hillary Clinton should be in prison at least. This is how Democrats roll. She should be in prison at least for treason. Need I remind you what the penalty for treason is? Just saying. Treason, you say? Yes. Do we need to go over the phony Russian dossier which the Clinton campaign concocted in order to benefit themselves and to tag this wrongful charge of Russian collusion to associate that with the Trump campaign? It was all a lie. It was all a big fat lie. The Steele dossier that was commissioned by the Clinton campaign. It was all a lie. And instead of being convicted for her treasonous behavior, she's standing in the White House with Joe Biden putting a medal around her neck. She's getting rewarded for her behavior. This is just a thumb in the eye to every American citizen. To award George Soros, is there a more natural enemy of the United States than George Soros? And he gets rewarded with the Presidential Medal of Freedom? Are you kidding me right now? To award Liz Cheney with the Presidential Citizens Medal, Liz Cheney, who more than any other member of Congress is responsible for some good, decent, law-abiding people being in prison right now in the shadow of the White House because they chose to exercise their constitutional rights of protest in the Capitol on January the 6th. And now they're rotting in prison because of Liz Cheney, who gets rewarded by Joe Biden. Down is up is down. Black is white. Right is wrong, wrong is right. Everything is the opposite with these people. They are utterly immoral. They're criminal. Their behavior is just nothing but criminal. So Joe Biden, I've decided, is going out with scorched earth. You know what a scorched earth policy is? It's a war term, basically. You're just going to obliterate everything on your way out, right? So he's been giving away these presidential medals of freedom. He announced last week that he is banning offshore drilling in he's banning offshore drilling. I would have assumed, quite frankly, I didn't know. I just went off the assumption that he had already done that based on the fact that on day one, he killed the Keystone Pipeline. So I would just assume he was banning everything that had to do with the production of oil, which is, as we all know, is evil, right? But he announced in the last month of his term that he's banning offshore drilling. Why would you announce that? Again, another thumb in the eye. Scorched earth. He announced yet more money for Zelensky and Ukraine. It doesn't matter what we think. It doesn't matter what the American people have to say about this. He's going to do it regardless. He has commuted, I'm sure you may have heard of this, he has commuted the sentences, the death sentence of inmates that are in federal prison who have been sentenced to death. Just across the board, he has commuted their sentences to life in prison. And these are some bad people that have been sentenced to death and are sitting in federal prison right now. And I don't know how many people we're talking about here, but folks, this, again, scorched earth. He's just commuting their sentences. I heard about the crimes of some of these people. Some of the things they have done are just unspeakable. They are horrific. There's no rehabilitating people like this. Now, however you stand on the death penalty, that's fine, but I mean, they've got to stay in prison for the rest of their lives, at least. But for him to just override everything else the court has done with all, I could understand, I guess, if it was, just a couple of prisoners, maybe 2 or 3, but he was just he waits until the very end before he does this. And then, of course, war with Iran is still being discussed. War with Iran is still being discussed. I'm going to tell you right now, the United States does not want to get into a war with Iran. I'm just telling you. I am telling you, we do not want to get into a war with Iran. We've got some really evil people in our State Department, like Victoria Nuland, a person who sat there while Gonzalo Lira rotted in a Ukrainian prison and was executed there or left to die there, basically. These people, for some surreal, irrational, evil reason, I believe, want war, not only with Iran, but with Russia. But I'm telling you, things are not going to go well for us if we actually launch a war with Iran, because that's going to, of almost necessity, bring in the allies of Iran, which include Russia, quite frankly. But here at this late date, they're considering war with a U.S. attack on Iran. This appeared in Axios.com. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan presented Joe Biden with options for a potential U.S. attack on Iran's nuclear facilities if the Iranians move towards a nuclear weapon before January the 20th at a meeting several weeks ago that remains secret until now. Three sources with knowledge of the issue tell Axios, and it goes on and on and on. How many years have we been told? For how many years, if not decades, have we been told we've got to act, we've got to do something with Iran because they are only 6 months away from obtaining a nuclear weapon, or they're 3 months away, or they're weeks away, or they're only days away from obtaining a nuclear weapon? I've been hearing this crap for 20 years at least. We have got to do something about Iran because they are on the cusp of obtaining a nuclear weapon, and we can't allow that to happen. Well, why can't we? I'm just asking, why can't we? Who are we to determine who has a nuclear weapon? And who are we to determine that Iran is some evil regime? I mean, that's what we're always told by the Western media, right? Is it possible there's another side to the story? Is it possible we've been lied to about everything? Just asking. You damn well better believe it's possible. I'm not saying Iran is the hotbed of virtue. I'm not saying that at all. I'm sure there's some bad people in Iran. But who are we to determine who gets a nuclear weapon, folks? Why does Israel have a nuclear weapon facility, a capability? Why do we allow that? Look at what they've done. Look at the carnage in Gaza, the extermination of God only knows how many lives. It's been an absolute annihilation, an extermination of Gazans, many of them Christians in Gaza. It's been awful, and we just sit back and say nothing about it for the most part. So we are considering, even at this late date, apparently, war, a strike on Iranian nuclear facilities, which would perpetuate a war. There's no question about it. And to be quite honest, Trump might do the same thing. I don't know. I would think Trump would be a little more rational about this. Thank heavens he is apparently going to have Tulsi Gabbard at his disposal. And Tulsi is of sound mind, if you ask me. But look at all these things that Biden is involved in. The metals, the offshore drilling, more money for Zelensky, potential war with Iran, and the commuting of all these death row inmates in federal prisons. It's just a scorched earth on the way out. It's just all restraint has been removed. It's like he's saying, yeah, I'm going to do it. What are you going to do about it? That's exactly what it sounds like. What are you going to do about it? Impeach him? Well, of course, we should have done that long ago. By the way, Trump, I was watching a news conference today that he was giving at Mar-a-Lago, and he he was asked about this ban on offshore drilling, and he said, don't worry, on day one, I will issue an EO, an executive order, and I will reverse the ban on offshore drilling. I hope it's that simple. I don't know. We shall see. But Trump has been known, he has been saying for quite some time, as soon as he takes office, it's going to be drill, baby, drill, as it should be, as far as I'm concerned. All right, let me move on to something else. I have told you that I would not forget Laken Riley, and I'm not forgetting Laken Riley. Laken Riley, of course, was a student at the University of Georgia in Athens. She was a nursing student. She went out for a jog one morning, and she never returned to her dormitory. She was abducted and assaulted by an illegal alien. Here we go again. And this man's name was Ibarra, I believe it was. And he killed Laken Riley. I've got his name right here. Jose Antonio Ibarra. I didn't forget Laken Riley's name, but I did forget his name, and with good reason. But a new bill came before Congress and was passed. It's called the Laken Riley Act. And basically what happens is the Laken Riley Act does this. If the legislation up for consideration in the House and Senate passes both chambers and is signed into law by President-elect Trump, federal immigration authorities would be required to detain illegal immigrants like Ibarra who commit theft-related crimes in the United States. In other words, Jose Ibarra he was already here illegally, right? He's already an illegal alien, so he's already broken one law just by coming here. But once he got here, he started breaking the law, and he had already had run-ins with the law, and he had been charged with theft and other crimes. I believe that was in New York, and somehow he wound up in Athens, where he unfortunately took the life of this young, beautiful nursing student, Laken Riley. So this new law is basically going to say, if we encounter these illegal immigrants, that they have to be at least detained if they've committed other crimes. Look, it may just be symbolism over substance, but something's got to be done with these people, folks. These people break into this land and they start committing crimes. We have got to do something about this. There's simply no question about it. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but as you may know, Justin Trudeau, you're out of here, buddy. Trudeau announced his resignation today, and all I can say is good riddance, you little commie. Man, we've had a Trudeau in power ever since I've been a kid. If it wasn't his father, Pierre, I know Justin didn't follow his father. There have had other prime ministers, but it was a matter of time before they got another Trudeau in there. I'm reading that they may have a conservative who is favored to win election as the next prime minister of Canada. We shall see. Now, Trump is at least amusing me with his talk about making three things here. His talk about making Canada a state, his talk about buying Greenland, have you heard this? And his talk about taking the Panama Canal back from Panama. Let me spend a minute on this. Now, look, I don't know what to make of this. I do know this. In business, if you want to make a deal with somebody, let's say I want to go and buy a car, or I want to sell a car to somebody, and I want to get $10,000 for this car. I'm going to tell you, I'll sell you this car. You want this car, and I'll tell you, I hate to get rid of it, but I'll sell it to you for $15,000. And you're like, man, there's no way I'm giving you $15,000. Well, that's what I got to have. Well, will you take 14? No, man, I can't. I just don't think I can do it. The most I can do is come up to 11, and we just dicker back and forth. and we finally agree on a selling price of $12,000, and you're happy and I'm happy. What you don't know is that what I was really going to be happy with is just getting $10,000. Okay, that's just a negotiation. So whether or not Trump really wants to take back the Panama Canal, I don't know. But he's basically saying we're going to take back the Panama Canal. I kind of doubt that's what's going to happen. I think he's got something else in mind. It is true that China is wielding way too much influence in our hemisphere. Has anybody ever heard of the Monroe Doctrine, by the way? Just asking. That's never discussed anymore as far as I know. But, you know, we never should have given it up. And give being the operative word, it was the late President Jimmy Carter who just gave it to Panama. I mean, if you're going to give it away, Jimmy, first of all, who are you to give our canal away? Second of all, if you're going to do something like that, why don't you get something for it in return? Maybe some future, if not cash, maybe some future consideration that we're giving you the canal with the understanding that we get to use it for free forever. And now we're paying big money to Panama to use the canal that we built, for heaven's sakes. Why Trump wants Greenland, I could only speculate. Maybe it's because of logistics and military strategy. There's not a lot of people on Greenland. It is huge. I think about 50,000 people live there. I believe that it's it's owned, if you will, by Denmark, is what I understand. I don't know if it's got I don't find it on Zillow. I don't think it's for sale, but Trump apparently seriously wants it. Don Jr.'s right there checking it over, kicking the tires as I make this video, so I don't know. And making Canada another state. Look, my only question is this. If we want to buy Greenland, what are we going to buy it with? We are $35 trillion in debt, and our credit ain't that hot right now, apparently, if you ask me. How can we buy anything when we're $35 trillion in debt? That's what I want to know. Hey, tell me what you think about all this, and give me your comments down below. Make sure you like this video. I would greatly appreciate that. Everybody stay warm out there. It's chilly. If you're in Florida or Hawaii or South Texas or the desert Southwest, I'm slightly jealous of you right now because I am not a fan of really cold weather. But we shall muddle through, and I shall see you soon.